going on, Dodgers Nation? Doug McCain here. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. Should the Dodgers pursue a trade for Juan Soto? Could they actually get a deal done for him? How much would it cost? What are the chances of it happening? We're going to dive into that in just a second, but quick reminder, for all the latest Dodgers news, rumors, hype videos, breakdowns, interviews, and more, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you really want to support the channel, smash that like button. And as always, I want your takes down below in the comments section. Today's Dodgers Nation question of the day: should the Dodgers pursue a trade for Juan Soto, even if it costs them a lot of their top prospects, even if it would cost them a king's ransom? Should the Dodgers try to make a trade for Juan Soto? I want all your thoughts down below in the comments section. And for all the latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. Ask and you shall receive. Over the last few days, you guys have been hitting me up in the DMs asking me to do a video on Juan Soto and if the Dodgers should try to make a trade for him. What are the chances that they could get a deal done? What would it cost? Well, here's your video on Juan Soto. Because a few days ago, the baseball world started buzzing after Buster Olney dropped this nugget in his latest piece for ESPN.com, where he wrote, at 23 years old, Soto is already a superstar, and there aren't any comparable examples of hitters of his stature being dealt at such a young age. But rival execs say the Nationals might well be compelled and motivated to move Soto this summer. They have already tried and failed to sign him to a whopper contract extension. He is represented by agent Scott Boras, who almost always takes his clients into free agency, which begins for Soto after the 2024 season. So first and foremost, we haven't seen it for a few months, but let's break it out. Here's the Dodger rumor meter. And this isn't about Juan Soto to the Dodgers. This is just about the idea of the Nationals trading Juan Soto. For this one, at this point, I'm going to give this a 2 Dodger dogs. People are talking, and you're starting to see a little bit of buzz, but right now I'm going to give it a 2 Dodger dogs that the Nationals are going to trade Juan Soto this summer. Now, does it make sense for the Nationals to trade Juan Soto this summer? In my opinion, it most certainly does, because if you look at Soto, he still has 2.5 years of team control left. He's making $17 million this season. He has 2 more arbitration years left, and he's going to get a big bag in those final 2 seasons. We're talking $20, $27, $30 million in those final 2 years for each of those seasons. And if you look at the Nationals right now, they're not contending, and they're not going to be contending for a World Series in the next few seasons. And also, they already made an attempt to extend him. They offered him a reported $350 million contract, which Juan Soto rejected. So that tells me, one, that they can't afford Juan Soto long term, because a player of his caliber at his age, he's going to fetch a contract north of $400 million, possibly $500 million. And I see you out there saying, wait a minute, $500 million, $500 million for a baseball player? How is that even possible? Well, if you look at Juan Soto, one, he's extremely young for when he's going to hit his free agency. He will hit free agency after his age 25 season, and he'll be 26 years old in the first year of his mega deal if he doesn't sign an extension before then. And also, he is an elite hitter, one of the best hitters in the game, possibly the best hitter in the game. He has the best plate discipline, the best eye in the game. If you look at his numbers since the start of the 2019 season, he's first in all of Major League Baseball with 16.4 F4. If you look at his numbers, slashing 298, 435, 551 with a 157 WRC plus since 2019. If you look at his walk rate, it sits at 19.3%. His strikeout rate at 16.3%. So he's an elite hitter. He has an elite eye, and he still hasn't entered the prime of his career. And that, to me, is really the big talking point for Juan Soto, because we know that Mike Trout, he currently has the record for the largest contract in Major League Baseball history after he signed that 12-year, $426 million contract that goes from 2019 to 2030, and that was the most lucrative contract ever signed in Major League Baseball history. But we're talking about a player like Mike Trout, a guy that was already a multi-time MVP winner. He actually won his 3rd MVP that season. He was a 7-time All-Star. For Juan Soto, it's a little different. He's made one All-Star team. He could have won 2 MVPs, arguably, in 2020 and 2021, but he doesn't have that long list of accolades that Trout has. But the big kicker is he is only 23 years old right now, okay? He hasn't even entered his prime yet, so we've seen how much success he's had so far early in his career. Just imagine how he's going to look as he enters his prime. So to me, when it comes to the ultimate contract that he'll sign, I doubt it'll hit $500 million, but I could totally see a 12-year, $450 million contract, something along those lines, where he's making between $38 and $40 million per year. I definitely think that is a realistic possibility. So knowing how much money he's going to command when he hits free agency after the 2024 season, you have to understand there's only going to be the big markets that are going to be in play for Soto. The big markets like the Los Angeles Dodgers, the New York Yankees, maybe the Boston Red Sox and the Chicago Cubs, maybe the Padres, maybe the Giants. Those are teams that have shown that, hey, maybe they'll be willing to spend. So when it comes to trading for Juan Soto, would a franchise do it, and would they gut their farm system knowing it's probably going to be a 2.5-year rental, or would he only be traded to a team like the Yankees or the Dodgers, a team that thinks they have a realistic shot of signing him long term? I think that's the big question for me, because if you're the Dodgers, it is going to require a massive haul for Soto. We're talking about the top guys, the Diego Cartayas, the Bobby Millers, the Ryan Pepios, the Michael Bushes, the Miguel Vargases. The top of the farm system is definitely going to be gutted if you're going to trade for a player of his caliber, because let's be honest, this is an unprecedented move for the Nationals. A player of his caliber at his age with still 2.5 years of team control left, the Nationals, they're going to want a big haul for Juan Soto. And if you're the Dodgers, would you be willing to do that for a 2.5-year rental? I think that's another big question, because we saw last season they traded away their top 2 prospects in Keibert Ruiz and Josiah Gray to the same Nationals team for Max Scherzer for a half-year rental and Trey Turner, which could be a 1.5-year rental. So I think if you're the Dodgers, you ask yourself this: are you truly all in on the next 2 to 3 seasons? Do you want to maximize the amount of World Series trophies that you can win with Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Walker Buehler and Julio Urias and Will Smith in this core, and then you say, hey, let's see how many chips we can get, how many championships we can win, and then we'll rebuild from there? Or do you say, hey, trading for Juan Soto is our best chance of locking him up long term, kind of like we did with Mookie Betts? We trade for Juan Soto, we have him for 2.5 years, and then we get a deal done when the time is right. Well, the thinking there is that, look, he is still under Scott Boras, and even if he does have interest in signing long term with the Dodgers, he still probably is going to hit free agency, and I highly doubt, unless they offer him a contract north of $500 million, that he's going to sign extension before he hits the market. So I think that it's a big risk for whichever team tries to trade him, but it's going to take such a big haul. And if I'm the Dodgers, unless I can get a really good deal, I'd wait until he hits free agency, because yes, he's a player you would like to see on your team. He's Juan Soto. He's a generational talent, the modern day Ted Williams. But look, you don't want to gut the farm system to this extent, because if you want to have a sustainable winner, you have to develop those players, and you have to have those players that really grow into key contributors. Guys like the Walker Buehlers, the Julio Uriases, the Cody Bellingers, the Corey Seagers. The reason why this Dodgers team is experiencing a golden age of Dodger baseball is because of the development. Yes, you have the Freddie Freemans and the Mookie Bettses and the Trey Turners, but there's so much homegrown talent that has led to all the success. You don't want to jeopardize that. So I think if you're the Dodgers, it's very enticing, because you know you have the financial muscle to lock up a guy like Juan Soto, but do you really want to gut your farm system? I think that's the big question. Now, if they did want some big league ready talent, some guys that are already in the show right now, maybe a Gavin Lux plus some elite prospects, maybe you consider that. But I think that we don't really know what the Nationals are going to require. Is it 5, 6, 7 prospects plus some big league ready talent? So we know Andrew Friedman is not going to get fleeced in this deal. And I think when it comes to Juan Soto, he has to make it known about his future intentions if I'm really going to give up a lot to get him. And I think a lot can change, but right now I don't see it happening. I don't think it's a realistic possibility. It's fun to think about, but I just don't see it happening. But if I am the Nationals, I definitely would move him. And the longer they keep him, the lesser they're going to get from him. And like I said, they're going to have to go up big time on the final 2 years of that arbitration. He's already making $17 million this year. They're going through an ownership change. That's another thing to consider. Does that new owner want to have it under their belt that they traded Juan Soto? Do they want the curse of the childish Bambino under their regime? And I think the answer to that would be no. And maybe if you're this ownership group, you get that deal done before the changeover and you just turn the page and have a fresh new start. So it's definitely in the Nationals' best interest to move him. The only question is, what does that do to their fan base? Do they say, oh man, we traded Trey Turner, we traded Juan Soto? Is this a Marlins-like just fire sale? I mean, nothing is going to be that bad, but I think if you're the Dodgers in this situation, you stand pat, you don't ever say no. Anything is possible, but I think if they call and they want some ridiculous haul, you say thanks, but no thanks. We're going to try our shot in free agency after the 2024 season. Now, the other big question, too, is where would Juan Soto play? Where would he play defensively? And really, that wouldn't be an issue because we know he plays in right field now, and the Dodgers have their franchise player playing in right field now at a Gold Glove level in Mookie Betts, who they signed to a 12-year, $365 million deal. Well, guess what? Juan Soto, he's played the majority of his games in his career in left field. He's played 299 games in left, 190 games in right, 7 at DH. So we know that Juan Soto is going to be fine in left field. And he's not known for his defense. He's known for his hitting. So to me, I think he would look great in Dodger blue. I think Soto's season would be very exciting. And if you have an opportunity to acquire a player of Juan Soto's caliber, you definitely owe it to yourself to, at the very least, explore it. Because let's also remember this. The Dodgers, they did offer Corey Seager a contract of almost $300 million. They did offer Max Scherzer $72 million. They might offer Trey Turner a big contract. What if they strike out on him as well? And you look at the money that they have in the future. You want to sign Julio Urias and Walker Buehler, but are you going to sign Cody Bellinger? I mean, I think at this point, he's not going to get the contract that we all expected he would after his 2019 MVP season. So the Dodgers, they do have some money that they were allocating for some other players that they have to play with. So that's something else that you need to consider. And I definitely think the Dodgers would make Juan Soto a very, very aggressive offer if they had an opportunity to, if they struck out on Trey Turner. But I think that you have to also focus on pitching, and that really is the foundation of this organization. So that's another thing you want to consider as well. But let me know down below in the comments section, do you want to see the Dodgers aggressively pursue a trade for Juan Soto? In my opinion, you never say never. Nothing is impossible. If there's the right deal to be made, I definitely make that move, but I wouldn't completely gut the farm system for Juan Soto for a 2.5-year rental, but I definitely would make him an aggressive offer potentially in a few seasons. But let me know down below. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. For all latest Dodgers news, rumors, high videos, interviews, breakdowns, and more all season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And as always, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.